An honor to be here with you all virtually today. I want to welcome all of our students in the Master's of Fine Arts program, Master's of Journalism, the Bachelor of Journalism, and in our Arts and Science programs, those of you who have just joined us this September. So welcome to all of you. Obviously, this is a different way that we're doing matriculation this year, but we're confident that we will have a wonderful experience for all of us to give us a sense of the wonderful community that you've become a part of. I've gotten to know all of you a little bit through your application process and registration, scholarships, bursaries, etc. And I really look forward to seeing the unique contributions all of you each make to our community. I'm just going to provide a few overview statements about the technical side of things. It would be really great if you could all turn your mics off until it is time to recite the oath. Dr. Peter O'Brien will lead you in reciting that oath, and will cue you to when you need to turn your mics on. The wording of the oath will actually be provided to you in real time, so no need to be anxious about any of that. You might notice that the speaker view is a little bit better because then you'll be able to read the oath more clearly. It's exactly the same oath that you would have received in your invitations as well. As you would have noted from when you were entered into this call, we will be recording this event. There also may be some slight reverb when we have over 200 people speaking at the same time, so I just wanted to make a note about that as well. Some kind of procedural things. Obviously, a big part of today is about the matricula itself, the volume that you will all have the opportunity to individually sign. Obviously, because of what we're all living through, our plans for that are a little bit different than usual. All of your names will be individually inscribed by our calligrapher in the booklet, in the matricula. So we would ask that once you receive an email from the registrar's office at the end of this week, if you have a preferred name that is different than the name that has been put in the registration system, for instance, that you email us back to let us know so we're sure that we're inscribing the matricula with your preferred name. So we should be able to send that email by the end of this week, and we ask you just respond to us by early next week with that. The matricula will be going out once we have all of your preferred names. We'll be going out to the calligrapher, and we'll be back in about a week and a half. And we'll send you an email then that details exactly the process for coming into the library to sign the matricula, if that's possible for you in the near term or longer term when you eventually wish to come to Halifax or are able to come to Halifax. And obviously we'll be following all the public health rules and regulations that are in place at that time. So we keep an eye on your email. As you already know, that's the way that we generally will communicate with you. And we look forward to seeing all of your names in the matricula, reflecting your commitment and your joining of this wonderful community. So thank you very much, and good luck. Thanks.
I'm Bill Leahy. I'm the president of the University of King's College. I would like to join Julie, our registrar, in welcoming you to this event. And I do so by first acknowledging that this event is being recorded on the traditional unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people. And I think that's particularly important this week as Mi'kmaq fishers enforce and exercise their traditional right to earn a moderate livelihood from the fishery under their treaties. We say we are all treaty people. It means something very particular and important in these circumstances. I would like to depart a little bit from the welcome to matriculation to say that matriculation is typically the final welcoming of our students to the university. So usually by the time we get to matriculation, I've welcomed you a couple of times. I really haven't had that opportunity in this academic year. So as president, I'm going to use matriculation to welcome you to King's. A little late perhaps, but welcome you nevertheless. We were through 6 very difficult months before this academic year started, where for the longest period of time, perhaps in our history, we were precluded from doing what we do, which is teaching. And during those 6 months, you went through a time of uncertainty and disruption and disappointment, including the disruption of your educational journey. I simply want to say that we couldn't be happier to have you back with us studying, or have you with us resuming your educational journey. We feel privileged that you chose King's as your place of learning to resume your educational journey, and we're just very happy that you're with us. I also want to thank you, first of all, for bringing your energy, your enthusiasm, and your thirst for learning to how we are conducting online learning. That is a critically important part of our success in making online learning as good as it can be for you, as well as for our teachers. And for all of you, but in particular for those of you who have come to Halifax to take up your studies, I want to thank you for the way in which you have anticipated the language of the matriculation oath by living in community, but ways in which are dictated by our pandemic situation in order to keep each of us safe and to keep the people who are around us safe. I think that's very, very important, and I appreciate the ongoing contributions and the ongoing consciousness and awareness of that important responsibility that you're all living with as King's students. And for those of you who are in other parts of the country, I know you're doing exactly the same in your communities, in which there are many more communities that are King's communities than is normally the case. And with those words of introduction, I'd like to call upon my colleague, Dr. Peter O'Brien, our Vice President and our Public Orator, to conduct the matriculation ceremony. Thank you.
Welcome to the ancient and solemn ceremony of matriculation, which marks your formal entry into the college as student members. This ceremony, a form of which has been celebrated for more than 2¼ centuries at King's, and for many centuries longer at the great universities of England and Scotland, is named for the matricula, the large register you can see here to my left, which is the book that will record your names eventually when you have the opportunity to physically sign them. As a matter of fact, the two books here represent the current register, the current matricula, which is the one that you will use to record your names. And the second of the two is the original matricula of the college, dating from 1803, and recording the names of the first students to sign it. In a few moments, you'll be asked to recite an oath in Latin to express your desire to enter the college and your willingness to observe its traditions. We use Latin, the universal language of learning in the West since antiquity, to remind ourselves that the community of scholarship we enter is larger than our own circle of friends, larger than our college, and larger than our nation, as well as older, connecting us to the minds and spirits of generations past. Those minds and spirits are represented materially in the books this library houses, making it a particularly appropriate venue for our ceremony today. Our connection to the eloquence of the past is also marked by the two busts on either side of the matricula. One is Cicero, the other Demosthenes, master communicators in ancient Latin and Greek, respectively. When they were originally placed on either side of the platform on which King's students received their degrees in Windsor, Nova Scotia in the 1860s, these two men seemed sufficiently representative of the ideal voice students then toiled in their studies to imitate. King's mission and King's curriculum has broadened since those days, and so I point out another piece of classical statuary and invoke her tutelage on the proceedings as well. Above the room is the winged Victory of Samothrace, a female figure without a head. She serves as an apt reminder of the nameless voices and forgotten voices that fill our tradition, waiting to be rediscovered. She also represents voices yet unknown, trained in our tradition of collegial learning and waiting to be heard in the future. So I'm going to ask you now to proceed to the recitation of the oath. I will pronounce a phrase in Latin. You'll see it written on the screen before you. And I'll ask you to repeat it in your own time and in your own place until we get to the end. I also would like to take this opportunity to welcome members of the King's faculty and staff who are here to share this special celebration with you and to witness your induction into the college. So if we are ready, I will begin the oath. Ego in universitate collegii regales.
Ego in
Discipulus sancte
Ego in collegi regales.
Ego in universitate
Ego
collegi
in universitate collegi regales.
Ego
Legibus paritorum
Collegi
Pastorum
Discipulus sancte Polliceor me.
Dante
Discipulus Sancte Pollock Eor
Disciplius sancte Polliceor me legibius paritrum.
Okay, line 3. Again. Legibus paritorum.
Vivendi eruditionesque Voidiam
Traditionesque meliores.
Melores preceptus.
Ita ut preceptus eius
Eius culturum.
Eruditionesque filiam necron ipsus.
Ita ut praeceptis eius.
Ignitem atque
Captis eius
Preceptus eius
Convivendi eruditionisque
convivendi
oboidiam
Legibus pariturum. Tradition
nec non ipsius
nec non
ipsius
convivendi eruditionisque obediam.
academiae dignitatem
Dignitatem quantum in me fuerit.
atque salutem quantum in me fuerit
in me
per reliquam vitam procuraturum. Thank you very much. I'm told that the sounds of Latin coming from various directions over the internet were like nothing those who could hear it have ever heard before, and I take their word for it. I would say if you were here to actually write your name in the matricula, Cito vos in matriculum collegii hodie relatus esse et ad observandum omnia statuta hoc libro comprehensa quantum ad vos spectant teneri. Know that you've been today entered in the register of the college and are bound to observe all the statutes contained in this book so far as they concern you. Thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure to be here with you for this important ceremony, and I look forward to making a more personal acquaintance with each of you in the future.
So I want to vouch for what Dr. O'Brien just said. I could hear you all over the internet, and you sounded fantastic, like $1 million. So it's my delightful responsibility on behalf of the university to accept the pledge that you've made to the university. And I do it in these terms. Actoro tate mea, admitto vos discipulos in universitate nostra collegii regalis, survete lege praetepique, foete traditionis eius praeclaris. And so what I've said is by my authority, which the matriculation is the only time I get to say that. By my authority, I admit you as students in our University of King's College. Keep her rules and precepts. Cherish her excellent traditions. Congratulations, you're full-fledged members of the University of King's College. I just want to make a few closing comments. I want you to attend to the fact that you just made a promise for life, and we intend to hold you to it. And I want to make a commitment to you that we will do everything we can to be worthy of the commitment you have made to your college, our college, and through the college to each other. I just want to comment on the way in which what you've just done explains why we are both a university and a college. As a university, we are students, we are professors, we are staff, we are presidents, we are members of the alumni. But as members of a college, that's exactly what we are. We are all equal members of the college of the University of King's College. And of course, the college is an institution and it's buildings, but really what it is, it's a body of the people of the University of King's College. So in committing yourself to the college, you've committed yourself to each other and all the students who've signed the matricula before you and all the students who will come after you, who will also take this pledge to the college. The oath you gave speaks of living and learning in community, of being in community as a deliberate, conscious act. About living for others is another way of putting it. And after 4 years being president of the University of King's College, I can say from having met many members of our alumnus that our alumnus lived this pledge, this commitment to be living in community and for others well beyond their graduation from the University of King's College, not just to each other, but to everyone in their communities and in their society. So from today, this will always be your college, and you'll always be joined to each other through your membership in this college. I state it as a fact, but as an aspiration, let us make it true. From this day, you will always belong to King's, and you will belong to each other through King's. Again, I state it as a fact, but it's an aspiration that we should try to make into reality. And I'll end just by kind of referring to the proverbial elephant in the room. The heart of the oath, as I've said a moment ago, is about living and learning in community. And in full honesty, we know not just from our experience in King's, but our experience living through the last 6 months, that living and learning in community is really challenging in these circumstances. But we also know it's more important than it ever probably has been in our lives before. So I think another commitment is in order that we, as we end this celebration, that we all commit to making those words, living and learning in community, as real and as alive and as meaningful in the balance of this academic year as we possibly can. Thank you for participating in this event. I look forward to seeing you through the duration of your years at King's and as a fellow member of the college in the years beyond your days as a student. Thank you very much.